Do you even know what initiative is, bro? Like, that's a terrible hook. That's a terrible, terrible hook. Do you even know what initiative is, bro? This week on Renegade Institute, the classical definition that we found on the internet was we kind of have a problem with these classical definitions of initiative. Or our current understanding's kind of a bit flawed. We understand initiative through the game of because we're nerds. We define initiative as... Let's find out today on the Renegade Institute. All good leaders know how to seize the initiative, right? Like, we see it in pop culture and in life and in definitions and motivational speeches all the time.
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first?
So in The Office, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. Or in The Dead Poet Society with Robin Williams.
The Latin term for that sentiment is carpe diem. Now, who knows what that means?
Where they talk about carpe diem, seizing the day, seizing the initiative, making your legacy, making your massive contribution on life that lives far beyond when you die. So if we're to be the masters of our own lives, if we're gonna carpe diem, if we're gonna seize the day, we need to learn about initiative.
You must unlearn what you have learned. Do or do not. There is no try.
Is it really this simple, or is there a more sinister side to our current understandings of initiative that might be leading us astray in kind of a wrong direction? So, what is initiative in pop culture? How do we see initiative exemplified within life? Generally, we see it comes in kind of two varieties. So in action movies, initiative is seen as the hero kind of acting quickly in a dangerous situation by themselves, unilaterally, and generally at the same time being yelled at by a superior, being told to stop doing whatever it is they're doing. So really good examples that we see are like Han Solo just running around doing his own thing.
It's him. Blast him.
Get back to the ship! Where are you going?
Certainly has
He is the definition of independence and initiative. We got Maverick in Top Gun, who's constantly doing stuff that's getting him in trouble, getting him demoted, and breaking his aircraft.
That's not good enough.
Says who? Admiral Kane.
He's on his way to kill the test and shut us down personally.
Well, he isn't here yet.
So the second major example that we see in life of initiative is generally this sense of going above and beyond, like saying, oh, that employee has a lot of initiative. And the classical definition that we found on the internet was taking action or making decisions without waiting for someone else to tell you what to do. Or the examples that we see a lot in life are recognizing what needs to be done and doing it without being prompted or told to, or identifying problems and opportunities and addressing them before being asked or going beyond your assigned responsibilities. So these are all good things, right? This is what we should be striving to emulate. This is how we should understand initiative, right?
It's called Carpe Diem, Morty. Look it up.
You look it up. You don't even know what it means.
That's because losers look stuff up while the rest of us are carping all them DMs.
Listen to your sister, Morty. To live is to risk it all. Otherwise, you're just an inert chunk of randomly assembled molecules drifting wherever the universe blows you.
Or our current understanding's kind of a bit flawed. Are these generally accepted norms and ideas around initiative kind of throwing us a curveball? Or is there a more insidious
Dark side.
holding us back here? We're going to dig into it. So I'm going to be honest. We kind of have a problem with these classical definitions of initiative. So first off, we don't view initiative as a reckless or impulsive act. See, in pop culture, all these heroes and all these movies, It's generally like a snap decision that's made. It's acting quickly and unilaterally in a dangerous situation. But the part, and this is what makes it exciting for Hollywood, and that's why they use this trope, but it's actually recklessness. It's insubordination. There's generally a super high likelihood of failure or putting others in danger or at risk. And a lot of times, the outcome when we are acting in a reckless and impulsive manner is more predicated on luck than any form of preparation or intention. It's like, it's good for Hollywood and it makes everything really exciting, but in real life, these are pretty terrible strategies. And so examples we see are Han Solo doing an impulsive action and then immediately turning around and having to run away. And Maverick doing an impulsive action, trying to push his plane further, faster, and harder.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. Just a little push.
And getting his co-pilot killed or blowing his plane up.
Maverick.
So from our second issue that we kind of have with these classical definitions of initiative is that we don't believe that renegades operate from a static or a reactive position. So the classical definitions of initiative, they set the baseline condition, like your normal everyday what you're doing, to being one of inaction or reactionary. And then initiative is like you all of a sudden have to rise up above the norm, the standard, the regular thing, and then exercise initiative at a degree higher. And that's what sets you above the rest. That's what having initiative is. But that the norm is inaction. The norm is doing nothing. It's being reactionary. It's waiting to be told what to do. And so we kind of have a problem with that as well, because that's going to frame in our mind how we should be navigating life on a daily basis. So our last problem with it is that we do not believe that subordination, that being under someone else, is a necessary precondition for someone to have initiative. The classical definition is founded on a baseline assumption of operating from a subservient or subordinate position, like you are waiting to be told what to do by someone with more authority and more agency than you. You're working somewhere where you have a boss, there's an established order, there's a hierarchy, and you're expected to work within this very regimented structure. And initiative is then this simultaneous unspoken expectation that you, as a good employee, you as someone with initiative, as a subordinate, should take action that is above or outside of your pay grade, and that you should ultimately be taking on what is the roles and responsibilities of your leadership for them. And we at Renegade Institute and as Renegades, like, we kind of reject these norms. We don't think that these are positive norms. We don't want to use these ideas as role models for how we should be acting in our life. So let's bring this to kind of a practical application. How do we as Renegades view initiative? So initiative is not something that we do impulsively or recklessly. We are going to be calculating in our actions. We are going to be the architects of our own destiny. Inaction is not a baseline precursor for initiative. Renegades, we're going to have a biasy towards action at all times. That's just how we're going to operate. And then initiative is not based on being in a subordinate position or working above or outside of your pay grades. See, we're going to frame our life, our understanding of ourselves and where we fit in life from a position of agency. If we're in a suboptimal position, if we're under a bad boss, if we're at a crappy job, if we're doing something that sucks, that we don't enjoy, we are doing it because we have chosen it for ourselves. We are taking full responsibility, extreme ownership over our situation, and we're put ourselves intentionally into this difficult situation because it's giving us something we need in this moment to proactively fulfill a greater objective later on in life. We do not operate from a baseline assumption of being a subordinate or leading or needing permission. And then rather than initiative being a short-lived impulsive act from a subordinate position, initiative is a practiced mindset and a condition that we cultivate daily over a period of years to set ourselves up for success. So how do we frame it in our minds? What's a good way that we can kind of restructure initiative into a healthier understanding that's more applicable to us in our daily lives? And we as renegades, we understand initiative through the game of chess because we're nerds. So in chess, you got two teams, right? Two opposing forces, and they are fighting for control of the board. And the goal is you want to pin down the opponent's king and put the king into checkmate. And most people, when they play chess, they think realistically the goal is to like eliminate all the opponent's pieces on the board, right? Because if you eliminate all their pieces, they can't defend their king, and then you're going to win the game. But really, if you take it a step further, the game of chess is 100% a battle over initiative that is enacted through the pieces. And you can actually be losing pieces-wise, but winning the game because you are maintaining the initiative. The player who controls the initiative in chess controls the game. The player who controls the initiative in chess is controlling the other opponent. It's forcing their will onto the opponent, and the opponent has to react to whatever situation you're putting them in. You're putting your opponent in the defensive, and you're forcing them to respond to our actions. So, taking a step back, what we're doing is we're strategically setting the conditions to pin down our opponent and allowing ourselves the ability to operate independently from a position of agency. So I know it's kind of a little heavy, so we're going to try and make this a little more concrete. And so for the game of chess, how do we actually do this in the game of chess? We can do this by aggressively going on the offense, forcing the opponent into a defensive strategy by employing 3 specific strategies. We can do this by attacking their high-value pieces, going after their queens, going after their bishops, going after their rooks. When we attack these pieces, those are very valuable pieces to our opponent, and so they're going to have to change their strategy in order to cover and protect those pieces. Then we can use a fork. A fork is when you use a single piece to simultaneously attack 2 separate pieces at the same time. Knights are really, really good for forks because it's hard for people to think in the way that knights move. And one of the best moves, in fact, in my opinion, probably the best move in the game is when you can use the knight to simultaneously put the opponent king in check and attack the opponent's queen at the same time, because they can't defend both. They have to get the king out of check, and they're probably going to end up losing their queen. And then that brings us to our third strategy, which is kind of a mesh with this second one, which is putting the opponent's king in check. So anytime you put the opponent's king in check, no other moves can be made. Your opponent must do something to get the king out of check. They can't move any of their other pieces. And so what this does is it forces the opponent to respond to their actions. They have to stop everything they're doing, all their strategies, all their attacks, all their plans now are on pause, and they have to take a step back and think about and analyze the board and figure out how they're going to respond to us. And so now what's happening is when they're analyzing the board, they're thinking about how they're going to respond to us. They're only present in the now. They're focused on this moment here and now. But we're waiting for them to respond to us. We're operating in the future. We're thinking about our second, our third, our fourth move out from now. We're coming up with new strategies. We are now a move ahead of our opponent, and we have the space the time and the freedom to enact our strategies, our goal. We can orchestrate our next attack. We can constantly force our opponent into a reactive state because we've now had more time to think ahead than they have. And then it's like, we can put them in check now, and then we can threaten this piece as soon as they respond. And then now we're getting ahead. We have seized the initiative from them, and we are holding on to it, and we are forcing them into a reactive state where they have to respond to us. And so when we plan ahead, when we adequately prepare, and we take aggressive action when needed, we seize the initiative. So in life, that is taking that mentality and forcing life to respond to us. It is allowing us to set the conditions for our own success. So now let's kind of bring that idea back and let's take it. So now we understand initiative from the framework of chess, but let's blow it out and how do we view it within our daily actions? So Renegades, we reject the classical ideas of initiative. Initiative is not reckless or impulsive. It's not a snap decision that we make that's based on luck. Renegades are going to be calm, practiced, and strategic in our thoughts and in our actions. Stagnation and waiting to be told what to do is not a precursor to initiative. We don't wait. We don't inaction is not our norm. We have a bias towards action. We are always looking, what can we do next? We're planning our next move. We're anticipating our needs. We are not waiting for permission. And then initiative does not require us to be in a subordinate position, but instead, Renegades view initiative from the lens, from the framework of chess, where life is our opponent. We are in a chess match against life, and life is constantly trying to take the initiative from us. It is throwing things at us and forcing us to be reactionary to it, and we're going to respond back. We're going to counter the unpredictability and randomness of life that's trying to take the initiative from us by being proactive. We're going to anticipate weather. We're going to anticipate traffic jams. We're going to anticipate financial emergencies. This is how we're going to be proactive. We're going to work towards seizing initiative back from life. And so what we do is we work to set the conditions for our own success. We're going to anticipate what opportunities might keep coming towards us and how to prepare for them ahead of time so that when the moment arises, it's not a snap decision that we're making. It's not reckless. We've already thought it out. We've already gamed it out. We've already done the pre-work and the homework and the preparation. So when that moment arises, we can fully seize on that moment.
Every possible series of events is happening all at once. Live that way, and nothing will surprise you. Everything that happens will be something that you've seen before.
This allows us to enforce our own initiative back onto life and allows us the freedom of mobility and the agents of our own destiny and not the victims of circumstance. So, kind of in conclusion, we've heard the classical definitions. We've seen the pop culture references of what initiative is. We've also decided that that's not really how we operate. So the Renegades, we define initiative differently. We define initiative as proactively setting the conditions so as to place us in an advantageous position where we can operate independently and from a position of agency. So why do we like this definition better? The reason why we came up with this new definition for initiative is because it shows that initiative is not rushed. It's not a snap decision, but it is a lifestyle. It is a mindset. It is a framework that we are employing every day when we're going about our lives, how we view the world around us, by looking at long-range strategic thinking, hard work, and preparation. This definition places us in a position of agency and authority rather than being a subordinate. We are the main character in this story. We are the agent. We are the one deciding. And then it establishes a bias towards action rather than a baseline condition of inaction or sitting around waiting to be told what to do. If we are waiting for directives from others, one, that means we're in a subordinate position because someone else is telling us what to do, which that's not how renegades work. But two, that means we're being reactionary, right? We are waiting for a stimulus. We are waiting for something to happen to decide. That is not how you seize initiative. We need to be proactive. We need to be planning ahead. We need to be anticipating what's happening, and we need to have a bias towards action. So ultimately, we view initiative as doing the pre-work to set the conditions for our own success in our jobs, our finances, our relationships, and in life. It's about looking at life as a game of chess where unpredictability and randomness are our opponents that are looking to take the initiative from us. Life is trying to force us to be reactive. And so for us, we're going to respond back by being proactive and looking ahead, anticipating our needs, the challenges that we're going to face, the opponents that or the opportunities that we might have, and setting ourselves up to make the most of every situation that we could possibly be in. By building this mentality into our lives, we will take the first steps towards true self-mastery. So, now that we have a good framework for how we want to view initiative, we're going to build on these ideas even further in next week's episodes. We're going to ask questions like, and look at actual examples of what it is to be living in a reactionary way that's putting us at a disadvantage, that's putting us behind the power curve, that's forcing us to live in kind of a time debt trap that we can't get out of. And then how do we structure our lives and our daily actions in a proactive way? How do we shift our thinking? How do we shift our behaviors so that we start being proactive and setting the conditions for our success? All of these questions are going to be answered in our next week's episode, where we're going to dive into fully understanding and creating examples of what it looks to be reactive versus living proactively, and how we can use those tools to seize the initiative by building proactivity into our daily habits. So, what are your thoughts, guys? Did you enjoy it? Did we miss anything? What did we get wrong? How do you frame initiative in your own life? Or what's a great example of a time when you took initiative and it really paid off for you? Let us know down in the comments below. If you've made it this far in the episode and you really enjoyed the content, please consider hitting that like or that subscribe button. I know it's super lame. I know you're a bunch of renegades, so me asking you to do it is going to trigger your reactance, and you're not going to do it because I told you to do it and I tried to take away your agency, and you're going to retake the initiative by demonstrating you have agency by not doing it. But it super helps us out, guys. Like, it's a really good metric to see what's resonating with you guys, what you guys like, what's working for you, and where we can keep improving in order to continue making great content for you guys. So seize that initiative by hitting that like, hitting that subscribe button. That way we can proactively make new episodes for you guys. And then in terms of our closing thought and quote of the day, that's going to be coming from Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said that shallow men believe in luck, strong men believe in cause and effect. Outside of that, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your time. We deeply appreciate it, and we will catch you all next time. Cheers. I'm here. I'm talking about initiative. I'm super excited because I'm doing what I love right now, and I'm going to do it so hard so I can get the out of the army and not be poor. Ah!